Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the bridge of the UES Thunderchild, her weathered hands gripping the tactical display as she studied the sensor readings with growing concern. The outer ring colonies had gone dark one by one over the past week, and now she knew why. The void before her was alive with movement. Hundreds of crystalline vessels that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light, approaching in perfect geometric formations. Multiple contacts. Admiral, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his voice steady despite the tension. We're counting over 300 vessels, configuration unknown. They're unlike anything in our database. Chen nodded, her mind already racing through scenarios. The 7th Fleet had been dispatched to investigate the communication blackout, but they'd expected pirates or perhaps a local uprising. Not this. Never this. What's their weapons status? She asked, though she already knew the answer. You didn't send a fleet this size for peaceful first contact. Energy signatures are off the charts, ma'am. They're armed to the teeth, but Rodriguez frowned at his display. There's something odd about their shield configurations. They seem to be running everything through their forward arrays. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Alien or not, that was a rookie mistake. Send word to all ships. Protocol Omega-7. Let's show them why you never underestimate human ingenuity. The UES Thunderchild and her sister ships, 20 vessels in total, began to move in what appeared to be a standard defensive formation. To the alien fleet, it must have looked like textbook military doctrine. Predictable. Safe. They couldn't have been more wrong. All ships, execute Crazy Ivan on my mark, Chen commanded, using the centuries-old submarine maneuver that had found new life in space warfare. 3, 2, 1, mark. The human fleet split apart in perfect synchronization, each ship firing its lateral thrusters in a move that would have torn apart less robust vessels. The alien fleet's forward-focused shields meant nothing when the human ships were suddenly attacking from all sides, their tungsten rounds and plasma torpedoes striking vulnerable engine sections and communication arrays. First blood to us, Rodriguez announced as 3 alien ships erupted in silent explosions. They're attempting to reorient their shields, but their formation's breaking up. Chen watched as the alien fleet tried to adapt, but their rigid, geometric patterns worked against them. Human ships had been designed with one crucial advantage: unpredictability. While alien vessels might be more advanced in some ways, they lacked the versatility that centuries of human warfare had taught was essential. Launch the Mosquitoes, Chen ordered, referring to the small, automated combat drones that were humanity's ace in the hole. Unlike the massive capital ships, these tiny fighters could slit through shield gaps and deliver devastating electromagnetic pulses directly to enemy systems. The space between the fleets came alive with thousands of small craft, moving in patterns so chaotic that no targeting computer could track them all. It was beautiful, in its way. A dance of destruction choreographed by human minds that refused to be bound by conventional tactics. Admiral, Rodriguez called out, we're detecting power spikes across their fleet. They're charging something big. Chen's expression hardened. All ships, execute scatter pattern Delta. Let's not make ourselves easy targets. The alien fleet's response came in the form of a massive energy wave that rippled through space, designed to catch and destroy everything in its path. But human ships were already moving, their trajectories seemingly random but perfectly calculated to slip through the gaps in the energy wave. Minimal damage reported across the fleet, Rodriguez reported with barely contained excitement. They just showed their hand, Admiral. That kind of attack leaves their power cores exposed for 13 seconds. More than enough time, Chen replied. All ships, target their command vessel. Fire everything we've got. The human fleet responded as one, unleashing a devastating barrage that overwhelmed the alien flagship's weakened defenses. The massive crystalline vessel shattered like glass, its destruction sending shockwaves through both the physical space and the alien command structure. As the battle continued, Chen couldn't help but reflect on humanity's greatest strength. It wasn't their technology, though that was formidable. It wasn't even their tactical flexibility, though that had proven decisive today. No, it was their ability to learn, to adapt, to take the unconventional and make it standard doctrine. The alien fleet began to retreat, their perfect formations now in disarray. They had come expecting an easy victory over a technologically inferior species. Instead, they had learned a harsh lesson about human warfare. Sometimes the most dangerous enemy isn't the one with the biggest guns, but the one who knows how to use what they have in ways you never expected. Should we pursue? Rodriguez asked, but Chen shook her head. No, they'll be back, and with a better understanding of what they're facing. But that's fine. She smiled grimly. Because next time, we'll have something new waiting for them. That's the thing about humans. We're always innovating, always adapting. And that's what makes us the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The UES Thunderchild maintained its position as the alien fleet disappeared into hyperspace. Chen knew this was just the beginning. The aliens would return with new tactics, new technologies, new ways to fight. But humanity would be ready, because that's what humans did best. They evolved, they adapted, and they survived. And in the vast darkness of space, that was the most terrifying weapon of all. The aftermath of the first battle left humanity with precious little time to prepare. In the engineering bay of the UES Thunderchild, Dr. Maya Patel stood surrounded by holographic projections of the alien technology they'd salvaged from the battlefield. Her team had been working nonstop for 72 hours, trying to understand the crystalline technology that made the enemy ships so formidable. "Look at this structure," she muttered, manipulating the hologram with practiced gestures. The crystalline matrix isn't just their hull. It's a living computer network. Her fingers traced the intricate patterns that pulsed with stored energy. Each facet can redirect power, modify shield frequencies, even repair itself. Chief Engineer Marcus Wong leaned forward, his cybernetic eye whirring as it captured every detail. That's why our initial scans couldn't get a read on their systems. We were looking for conventional power signatures, but their entire ship is one big circuit. Admiral Chen entered the engineering bay, her presence commanding immediate attention. "Please tell me you have something we can use, Doctor. Our long-range sensors show they're regrouping at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. We have maybe 48 hours before they return." Maya's eyes lit up with the fever of discovery. "Actually, Admiral, we found something better than a weakness. We found a way to upgrade our entire fleet." She gestured to a simulation running on the main screen. Their crystalline technology isn't just advanced, it's adaptable. And that's something we humans know a thing or two about. The simulation showed a hybrid design. Human warships partially retrofitted with salvaged crystalline technology. "We can't replicate their tech completely," Maya explained, "but we can integrate key components into our existing systems. The crystals respond to electrical currents in a way that amplifies energy output exponentially." "How long would these modifications take?" Chen asked, her tactical mind already calculating possibilities. Marcus stepped forward. "That's the beautiful part, Admiral. We've designed a modular upgrade system. Each ship can be modified in under 6 hours. We start with the weapon systems, then shields, then propulsion. The entire fleet can be upgraded in waves, keeping us combat-ready throughout the process." Chen studied the projections carefully. "And you're certain these modifications will work? We won't get a second chance at this." "We've already tested it on a smaller scale," Maya replied, pulling up another simulation. "The crystals don't just enhance our systems, they learn from them. Every shot fired, every shield impact, every engine burn makes the integration more efficient. It's like having a ship that evolves during combat." The engineering bay erupted into activity as Chen gave the green light. Crews began working in shifts, carefully integrating the crystalline technology into human weapon systems. The process was delicate. One wrong connection could overload entire sections of the ships, but human hands proved steady, and human minds proved creative. They worked through the night and through the next day. Engineers and technicians pushed themselves to their limits, fueled by stims and the knowledge that humanity's survival hung in the balance. The crystalline technology fought them at first, trying to revert to its original configurations, but human persistence won out. 24 hours into the upgrade process, they got their first success. The UES Valiant's main gun, augmented with crystalline focusing arrays, demonstrated a 300% increase in power output with no additional energy consumption. The crystals were learning, adapting, becoming something entirely new, neither purely alien nor purely human technology. This is what they didn't count on, Maya said to Chen as they watched the test results. They thought their technology was superior because it was more advanced, but they never considered what would happen when you combined it with human innovation. Marcus nodded in agreement. Their ships are perfect machines, designed to function in specific ways. Ours are works in progress, constantly being modified and improved. And now we're teaching their crystals to do the same thing. The upgrades continued around the clock. Each success brought new insights, new possibilities. The engineering teams worked in perfect synchronization, passing discoveries and modifications from ship to ship. It wasn't just technology they were creating, it was evolution in action. 40 hours after they began, the fleet was transformed. The human ships still looked largely the same from the outside, but beneath their armor plating, crystalline networks pulsed with power. Each vessel had become a hybrid of human engineering and alien technology, but with one crucial difference: these ships would fight with human unpredictability. All ships reporting ready, Admiral, Marcus announced as the final diagnostics came in. The crystal integration is stable across all systems. Power output is exceeding our initial estimates by 20%. Chen stood at the tactical display, watching as her fleet's sensor signatures shifted and changed, the crystalline technology adapting even as they waited. Status of the alien fleet: still approaching, Admiral. They'll be in weapons range in less than 8 hours. A small smile crossed Chen's face. They're expecting to face the same fleet they fought before. Instead, they're going to encounter something entirely new, human ships that can adapt as quickly as we do. She turned to Maya and Marcus. Outstanding work, both of you. Now let's show them what humanity can do with their technology. The engineering bay gradually emptied as crews returned to their battle stations, but Maya remained, watching the crystalline networks pulse with energy. She knew that what they'd created here was more than just a tactical advantage. It was proof of humanity's greatest strength, the ability to take the unknown and make it their own, to face the impossible and find a way forward. In 8 hours, the alien fleet would learn that lesson for themselves, and Maya had a feeling they wouldn't like the teaching method one bit. Space rippled like disturbed water as the alien fleet dropped out of hyperspace, their crystalline ships casting prismatic reflections across the void. But this time, Admiral Chen watched their arrival with calculated anticipation rather than dread. The human fleet waited in a seemingly scattered formation near Proxima Centauri, their modified ships pulsing with hybrid energy signatures. They brought reinforcements, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his voice tight. 500 vessels, nearly double their previous numbers. Chen nodded, unsurprised. And we've brought surprises. Status of the Crystal Integration Network: operating at 115% efficiency. Admiral, Maya's voice came through the comm. The neural learning algorithms are already adapting to their presence. Every second we're in proximity, our systems are evolving. The alien fleet moved with mathematical precision, spreading out in a three-dimensional grid that would have been impossible for traditional human formations to counter. Their first attack came as a synchronized wave of energy pulses designed to overwhelm and shatter any defensive formation. But the human ships didn't try to defend traditionally. Instead, they seemed to fragment, each vessel splitting into multiple sensor signatures as the crystalline technology bent both energy and space around them. The alien attack passed through dozens of false targets, while the real ships emerged unscathed. Ghost protocol functioning perfectly, Marcus reported from engineering. Their targeting systems can't distinguish our real signatures from the crystal-generated duplicates. Chen allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before issuing her next command. Execute Operation Hydra. The human fleet's response was chaos theory in motion. Ships moved in patterns that seemed random but were actually calculated to maximum effect, their newly integrated crystal matrices allowing them to pull off maneuvers that would have torn conventional vessels apart. Each ship fired from multiple angles simultaneously, their weapons enhanced by the alien technology they'd adapted. The alien fleet's perfect formation began to deteriorate as they tried to track targets that seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once. Their attempts to regroup were met with precision strikes from weapons they thought they understood, but now behaved in ways their tactical computers couldn't predict. They're trying to adapt their shields, Maya reported excitedly. But our crystals are learning faster than theirs. Each hit we take teaches our systems how to penetrate their defenses more effectively. Chen watched as the battle unfolded across multiple tactical displays. The alien fleet's superior numbers meant nothing against an enemy they couldn't effectively target or defend against. Human ships seemed to phase through their strongest shields, striking from impossible angles before disappearing into a cloud of false signatures. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out suddenly, "we're detecting a massive power buildup in their command ships. Energy signatures suggest they're preparing to link their entire fleet into a single network." "Just as we predicted," Chen replied calmly. "Dr. Patel, execute Phase 2. Maya's fingers flew across her console as she activated the true genius of their crystal integration. The moment the alien fleet linked their systems, the hybrid crystals aboard the human ships sent out a cascading resonance frequency that matched and then disrupted the alien network. It was like introducing a virus into a computer system, but at a fundamental physical level. The effect was devastating. Alien ships began to lose power as their crystal matrices tried and failed to adapt to the conflicting signals. Their perfect formation dissolved into chaos as ship after ship lost control of their advanced systems. "Multiple ships going dark," Rodriguez reported, his voice rising with excitement. "Their fleet-wide network is collapsing. They can't maintain their energy distribution." Chen leaned forward, her voice carrying across all fleet channels. "All ships, execute final attack pattern. Target their command vessels first, then work outward. Don't let them regroup." The human fleet moved as one, but with the unpredictability that had become their trademark. Enhanced weapons fire struck with surgical precision, each hit more devastating than the last as their hybrid systems learned and adapted in real time. Alien ships began to retreat, but in disorder. Their once perfect formations were now scattered, their advanced technology turned against them by human ingenuity. Those that could still maneuver tried to open hyperspace windows, but many were too damaged to escape. "They're broadcasting something," Rodriguez announced. It's a surrender signal, Admiral." The bridge fell silent as Chen studied the tactical display. More than half the alien fleet had been destroyed or disabled. The remainder were powered down, their weapons offline. Victory, it seemed, was total. But Chen knew better than to celebrate too early. "Maintain battle stations. Dr. Patel, what's the status of their remaining ships?" "Their crystal matrices are completely destabilized," Maya replied. "They couldn't restart their weapons now if they wanted to." "But Admiral, we're getting some interesting readings from their communication attempts. These aren't just surrender signals. They're trying to tell us something." Chen's expression remained neutral, but her mind was already racing ahead to the implications. "Keep our weapons locked on, but open a channel. Let's hear what they have to say." She paused, then added, "And Dr. Patel, excellent work with the crystal integration. I think we've just changed the future of space warfare." As the communication channels opened, Chen reflected on how this battle would be remembered, not just as a victory for humanity, but as proof that their greatest strength wasn't in their weapons or their technology, but in their ability to understand, adapt, and improve upon anything they encountered. The aliens had brought superior technology and overwhelming numbers. Humanity had brought innovation, unpredictability, and the ability to turn an enemy's strength into their own. In the end, it wasn't even a contest. And now, as the first translated alien messages began to come through, Chen had a feeling that this was just the beginning of something much bigger than a simple military victory. The real question was, what would humanity do with this new understanding of their place in the galaxy? The Grand Conference Chamber aboard the UES Thunderchild had never been designed to host alien diplomats. Yet here they were, three crystalline beings whose bodies seemed to shift between solid and liquid states, their internal lights pulsing in complex patterns that Maya's translation algorithms were still struggling to fully decode. Admiral Chen sat across from them, Dr. Patil at her side, as the alien leader, who had introduced himself as Nexus Guide Verkath, explained their situation through a combination of translated speech and holographic displays. Our civilization faces extinction. Verkath's translated voice resonated through the chamber. The Crystal Collective was once vast, spanning thousands of systems, but we are being hunted, systematically, by those we once called allies. The holographic display showed a massive armada of biomechanical ships, their designs so alien they seemed to defy physics. The swarm, Verkath continued. They offered us protection, demanded we join their empire. When we refused, they began converting our worlds, our people, into extensions of their hive mind. Maya leaned forward, studying the technical data streaming alongside the images. These energy signatures, they're similar to your crystalline technology, but corrupted somehow. Organic components forced to integrate with mechanical systems. Yes, Verkath's lights pulsed with what the translators interpreted as deep distress. The swarm doesn't merely conquer, they assimilate. They saw our crystalline nature as perfect for their purposes. We fled, searching for allies strong enough to help us resist. So you attacked us to test our capabilities, Chen stated, her voice neutral. Risky strategy. We could have destroyed your entire fleet. We had to know, another alien, Science Director Krillith, interjected. Your species was unknown to us, but your ships, they showed promise. We needed to understand if you could adapt, if you could innovate. And you exceeded every expectation. Chen exchanged glances with Maya. The human engineer had already pulled up detailed scans of the swarm vessels, her mind clearly racing with possibilities. These biomechanical ships, Maya said, they're powerful, but they have to be vulnerable to the same kind of crystal resonance we used against your fleet. If only it were so simple. Verkath's lights dimmed. The swarm learns, adapts. Every defeat makes them stronger. They incorporate new defenses into their collective consciousness. And they are coming. Our long-range sensors detected their scout ships entering this sector 3 days ago. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had barely survived first contact with the Crystal Collective. Now they were facing an even greater threat, one that had nearly destroyed a far more advanced civilization. We offer an exchange, Verkath continued. Full access to our technology, our knowledge, our remaining resources. In return, we ask for sanctuary and alliance against the coming storm. Before Chen could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice came through urgent but controlled. Admiral, we're detecting multiple hyperspace signatures, but they're not coming from the direction of the swarm scouts. The tactical display lit up with new contacts, Crystal Collective ships, but their signatures were wrong, corrupted. Their once elegant crystalline forms were now twisted with organic growths, their energy patterns chaotic and wrong. Impossible. Krillith's translator couldn't fully convey the horror in their tone. These were our backup forces, hidden in deep space. The swarm couldn't have found them so quickly unless someone told them where to look. Chen finished grimly. She turned to the third alien delegate, who had remained silent throughout the negotiations. Strategic Commander Zexavol's lights were pulsing in an erratic pattern that didn't match any previous translations. "You're right, Admiral." Zexavol's translated voice held new harmonics, discordant and wrong. "The swarm is inevitable. Resistance brings only suffering. By accepting their dominion willingly, some of us might survive. Might even thrive." The corrupted Crystal Collective ships opened fire, their weapons now augmented with swarm biotechnology. But Chen had not survived this long by being unprepared. "All ships, execute Emergency Protocol Omega," she commanded as Maya frantically worked at her console, adjusting their crystal integration networks to account for the new threat. "And someone get these delegates to secure containment. Except for the traitor, he stays right here." As the battle erupted outside, Zexavol's crystalline form began to change, organic tendrils emerging from its surface. But before the transformation could complete, a precisely calibrated energy pulse from Maya's console froze the process. "Interesting," Maya noted clinically as security teams rushed in. "The swarm conversion process can't handle rapid crystal reformation sequences. File that away for later." Chen watched as the corrupted fleet engaged her forces, their movements a horrible hybrid of crystal collective precision and swarm savagery. But human ships were already adapting, their hybrid technology learning and evolving to counter this new threat. "You still think we can win this?" she asked Verkath as they watched the battle unfold. The alien leader's lights pulsed with what might have been hope. "Before today, no. But your species, you don't just adapt technology. You adapt tactics, strategies, even your very way of thinking. The swarm has never faced anything like humanity." Chen nodded grimly as she issued orders to her fleet. "And they never will again, because this isn't just about survival anymore. You showed us what's out there in the galaxy. Now we're going to show everyone, especially the swarm, why picking a fight with humanity was their biggest mistake." The battle raged on, but it was already clear that this was just the beginning. The real war was coming, and humanity would face it as they had faced everything else, with innovation, adaptation, and the unshakable determination that had made them the most terrifying force in the galaxy. The combined human and crystal collective fleet hung in high orbit above Earth, a gleaming array of hybrid vessels that represented the best of both civilizations. Admiral Chen stood at her familiar position on the Thunderchild's bridge, but the tactical display before her showed something unprecedented. The largest armada ever assembled in human space. The swarm was coming. Their massive biomechanical fleet had devoured 3 star systems in their approach, their ships growing more numerous with each assimilation. Long-range scans showed their numbers in the thousands, each vessel a twisted fusion of organic and mechanical components that defied conventional physics. Final system check complete, Maya reported from her new position as Fleet Engineering Coordinator. "The Crystal Integration Network is operating at peak efficiency across all ships. The modifications we developed during the last 3 engagements have been successfully implemented." Chen nodded, studying the latest intelligence reports. The past month had been a brutal series of hit-and-run battles, each encounter teaching them more about their enemy. The swarm adapted quickly, but humanity had proved they could adapt faster. "Signal from the Crystal Collective ships," Rodriguez announced. "Nexus Guide Verkath requests final confirmation of the battle plan." "Put him through," Chen ordered, watching as the crystalline being's image appeared on the main screen. Their alliance had grown stronger through each battle, the initial distrust giving way to mutual respect. The swarm approaches their final jump point. Verkath's translated voice carried notes of both fear and determination. "Are you certain about this strategy, Admiral? It goes against all conventional space warfare doctrine." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "That's precisely why it will work. The swarm adapts to patterns, to predictable responses. So we'll give them something they can't adapt to: organized chaos." The plan was audacious, perhaps even insane by traditional standards. But traditional warfare had failed against the swarm for centuries. It was time for something new, something uniquely human. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected. Rodriguez called out, "They're here." The void erupted with activity as the swarm fleet emerged, their biomechanical ships moving with horrifying synchronization. Their numbers were staggering. Over 5,000 vessels, each one a nightmare of organic technology. "All ships, execute Operation Pandora," Chen commanded, her voice carrying across all frequencies. "Show them why humanity never plays by the rules." The combined fleet split into what appeared to be random groups, but each movement was precisely calculated. Crystal collective ships, guided by human tactical advisors, abandoned their usual geometric formations in favor of unpredictable attack patterns. Human vessels, their systems enhanced by crystalline technology, performed maneuvers that should have been impossible. The swarm's first attack wave met not the solid wall of resistance they expected, but a fluid, ever-changing defense that seemed to exist everywhere and nowhere at once. Their adaptive algorithms struggled to find patterns where none existed. "They're trying to establish their hive link," Maya reported, monitoring the energy signatures, "just like we predicted. Activating the resonance cascade now." The crystalline technology integrated into the human fleet came alive with new purpose. Instead of trying to disrupt the swarm's communications, they amplified them, forcing the hive mind to process more data than it could handle. Thousands of ships trying to coordinate perfectly meant thousands of points of potential confusion. "Multiple swarm vessels showing signs of network strain," Rodriguez announced. "Their formation is breaking up." But the swarm was far from defeated. Their ships began to adapt, organic components mutating in real time to compensate for the overload. They launched waves of smaller craft, infection pods designed to breach hulls and convert crews into drone soldiers. "Phase 2, Chen ordered calmly. "Show them what happens when you try to assimilate human ingenuity." The fleet's response was devastating in its creativity. Ships that appeared crippled suddenly restored power, their systems having undergone controlled crystal reformation cycles that the swarm couldn't predict. Infection pods that breached hulls found themselves trapped in specially designed containment fields, their organic components flash-frozen by precisely calibrated crystal matrices. "We're not just fighting their ships," Chen transmitted to all vessels. "We're fighting their assumptions about how war should be conducted. Every time they adapt, hit them with something completely different. Don't let them learn your patterns because you won't be using the same pattern twice." The battle transformed into something that defied traditional military analysis. Human ships used their crystalline enhancements to generate phantom sensor readings, making the swarm waste resources attacking non-existent targets. Crystal collective vessels, learning from their human allies, abandoned their usual tactics in favor of improvised maneuvers that looked like mistakes but struck with deadly precision. "Their command ship is attempting to consolidate control," Maya reported. "They're trying to force their entire fleet to operate as a single organism." "Perfect," Chen replied. "Activate the viral crystal sequence." This was the masterstroke, a modification of crystal technology that they had developed by studying Zexavol's failed transformation. Instead of fighting the swarm's attempts at unity, they encouraged it, but fed into their network a cascade of contradictory commands hidden within crystal resonance patterns. The effect was catastrophic for the swarm. Ships began firing on their own allies, organic components rejected mechanical systems, and the carefully maintained balance of their hybrid technology collapsed into chaos. "Multiple swarm vessels self-destructing," Rodriguez reported, his voice rising with excitement. "Their command structure is completely compromised." The battle wasn't over. The swarm fought on with mindless determination, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. Cut off from their hive mind, denied the ability to adapt effectively, they faced an enemy that turned unpredictability into an art form. "Signal all ships," Chen commanded. "Concentrate fire on their scattered groups. Don't give them time to establish new command nodes. End this now." The combined fleet struck with overwhelming force, human and crystal collective ships working in perfect synchronization, while maintaining their unpredictable tactics. Swarm vessels, many now operating independently without hive guidance, fell one by one to attacks they couldn't anticipate or counter. Hours later, as the last swarm ship was reduced to drifting debris, Chen stood in the conference room with Verkath, surveying the aftermath. "You've done the impossible." The alien leader's lights pulsed with what the translators identified as awe. "The swarm has never been defeated like this, never been broken so completely." "We had help," Chen replied modestly. "Your technology, your knowledge, was useless against them until humanity showed us how to use it differently." Verkath interrupted. "You didn't just win a battle today, Admiral. You've changed the fundamental nature of warfare in this galaxy. And perhaps," the aliens' lights shifted to new patterns, "perhaps that's exactly what the galaxy needed." Chen thought about the battles ahead. There would be more swarm fleets, more threats to face. But humanity had proven something today, not just to their enemies, but to themselves. They weren't just survivors or adapters. They were innovators, revolutionaries who could take the established rules of the universe and rewrite them through sheer determination and creativity. "You know," she said, watching as recovery ships began their work, "I think you're right. The galaxy wasn't ready for humanity, but humanity was definitely ready for the galaxy." And in the vast darkness of space, illuminated by the remnants of battle, a new era was beginning. One where humanity's greatest weapons weren't their ships or their technology, but their boundless capacity to imagine new possibilities and their relentless drive to turn those possibilities into reality.